as our business transitions into France, there's going to be several things that we need to go over in order to be as successful as possible. So the first thing we're going to go over is communication. Obviously, in France, they speak French. Fortunately for us, they also speak a lot of English. English is taught as a second language in most French schools. Most of the French are actually pretty fluent in it. That being said, it is going to be very important for some of us to actually be fluent in French so that we can communicate no matter what. The rest of us are going to need to just learn a lot of the key words so that we can get by day to day, especially with people that maybe don't speak English. The key to that, though, is going to be when we are going to speak English, especially in business meetings, it's important to apologize beforehand that you don't know the French language. The French will really appreciate that, and it can go a long way in growing the relationship with us and the people that we're meeting with. The next thing we need to go over with is the French are a very proud people. So they really like to brag about where they come from, about their heritage. It's not necessarily important that we know everything about them. Obviously, the French were in 2 world wars. They're a world leader and everything like that. But it is important that we ask questions to them, just to get them talking about their heritage. That'll grow the relationship as well. So that's one thing our business is really going to focus on, is making good relationships with our customers, the people that we work with. And so talking about these things is going to make things go along better. Next thing I want to talk about is making good first impressions. So when it comes to making good first impressions, in France, it's actually a lot similar to in America. So the main key thing, obviously when you meet somebody, is a good solid handshake. Just like in America, that's very important, making a strong handshake. It'll go a long way. Another important thing to know is that some French, they will kiss you on the cheek when you meet them. That's more of a thing people do when they become friends. But in France, it doesn't necessarily matter. Sometimes they'll do it anyways. And so it'll be one kiss on the left cheek, one on the right, and you have to be open to that. It's going to happen. So, and along with that first impression there, we need to make good eye contact, whether we're talking to just somebody we meet on the street or if it's in a business meeting, especially when we're talking and when they're talking, eye contact is crucial. Now, another impression is the French really like the finer things in life. So that comes into play with dressing, with accessories, those types of things. We want to dress nice. Guys, you're going to be dressed in business suits, dark colors. Girls are also going to be wearing business suits or elegant dresses. That can change over time if the people we're meeting with have a different personality. They don't necessarily dress that way. Then we can loosen things up a little bit, but especially in that initial meeting, we're going to want to dress nice in business suits. Then we're going to talk about dining. Dining in France is quite different than here in America. It's a lot fancier. Oftentimes, if you're going to a big dinner party, there's going to be a seating chart. You're going to be told where to sit. If you are going to a big dinner party, it's important that ahead of time you send flowers. That's custom in France. When you send these flowers, we don't send them in even numbers. It's odd numbers only, except for 13 because that's unlucky. Now, while we're eating, it's important that you keep the fork in the left hand, knife in the right hand. When you're finished, you'll cross them and put them on your plate, and the hostess will take them away. When it comes to drinking wine, if you're finished with that, don't drink the whole glass. The waitress or hostess will come by and top off your glass. So you want to leave it about 3/4 full if you're done with the wine, and then you can leave it when you're done. Now, the most important part we need to talk about is business etiquette. So this is also a little bit different in France than it is here in America. The French are very, very detail-oriented. So it is going to be a long, drawn-out process when you do business meetings. That means you're going to have to be courteous and you're going to have to be patient. So the French don't like to get down to details right away as far as making decisions. We're not going to be pushy in our sales tactics. They want to talk about it, discuss things, figure out the best options, and then in another meeting they'll decide what is best. That being said, before you do these meetings, we need to set them at least 2 weeks ahead of time. They're scheduled, and that'll mostly be done through secretaries. So there will be no last-minute meetings. It's typically scheduled a couple weeks ahead of time. And again, you will be dressed in business attire, and you will be told where to sit most likely when you go into this meeting. Now, when you are in these meetings, don't be surprised that even though you're supposed to be courteous, it may get into some heated discussion. The French will appreciate that. If you're intellectual about what you're saying, you know what you're talking about, and you make good points, the French will appreciate that. They might ask difficult questions, and they might, tone might get raised. That doesn't necessarily mean they're mad at you. They're just trying to figure out the right answer. So we have to be strong in what we're saying. We have to be confident in what we're saying, and make it good, intelligent points. So overall, business in France is very similar to in America. It's just a lot fancier, basically. We have to adjust to their style. We have to be able to break this language barrier that we're going to face. And if we do these things, we're polite, we fit in with the French, I think we can definitely be successful in France as a business.